Switzerland has no oil, no vast farmland, no coastline, no empire, and yet it is one of the richest countries on Earth. If you dropped a pin on a map of Europe and tried to design the perfect place to become wealthy, Switzerland would not be your first pick. It is landlocked, mountainous, small, surrounded by larger powers that have spent centuries fighting wars. By every traditional rule of economic power, it should have been ordinary. Instead, it quietly became extraordinary. Today, Switzerland has one of the highest GDPs per capita in the world. Its currency is so trusted that investors run to it during global crises. Its banks manage trillions in foreign wealth. Its companies dominate industries that most people barely think about but cannot live without. So how does a country with no natural resources end up richer than nations sitting on oceans of oil? The answer starts with something Switzerland does not have: war. For more than 200 years, Switzerland has maintained armed neutrality. While Europe tore itself apart during the two world wars, Switzerland stayed officially neutral. That neutrality was not passive, it was strategic. The country built a reputation as a safe zone, a vault in the middle of chaos. And when the world burns, money moves. During times of instability, investors do not ask where returns are highest, they ask where assets are safest. Switzerland positioned itself as the answer. But neutrality alone does not create wealth, it creates opportunity. The real shift began in the 19th and early 20th centuries. Switzerland industrialized early, focusing not on heavy resources but precision: watches, machinery, engineering, chemicals, later pharmaceuticals. If you cannot compete in volume, you compete in value. Swiss watchmakers could not produce more steel than Germany, so they produced craftsmanship that commanded premium prices. Swiss chemical and pharmaceutical firms turned research into patented compounds sold worldwide. Over time, innovation became the country's most reliable export. The country made a deliberate choice: specialize in high-margin, high-skill industries. That requires something more valuable than oil: human capital. Switzerland invested heavily in education, vocational training, and technical institutes. The Swiss apprenticeship system became one of the most effective in the world. Teenagers did not just study theory, they trained inside real companies. By adulthood, they were productive, specialized, and globally competitive. And productivity is where the math gets interesting. A country's wealth is not determined by how much land it owns, it is determined by how much value each worker produces. Switzerland consistently ranks near the top in labor productivity, a smaller workforce generating outsized economic output. But there's another layer: banking. Swiss banking secrecy became legendary. For decades, wealthy individuals and corporations moved money into Swiss accounts. Political instability in Latin America, inflation in parts of Europe, currency collapses elsewhere. Capital flowed into Switzerland. By the early 2000s, Swiss banks were managing a significant share of the world's offshore wealth. Critics argue that some of that money was questionable. Over time, international pressure forced Switzerland to relax strict secrecy laws. Transparency agreements were signed. The era of total anonymity began to fade. But by then, the foundation was built. Switzerland had already become a global financial hub. Its central bank maintained strong monetary discipline. The Swiss franc became a safe haven currency. During the 2008 financial crisis and later global shocks, investors piled into the franc. It strengthened so much that the Swiss National Bank had to intervene to prevent it from rising too high and hurting exports. Most countries struggle with weak currencies. Switzerland struggles with a currency that is too strong. That's credibility. Political stability plays a role too. Switzerland's system of direct democracy and decentralized governance creates predictability. Major policy shifts rarely happen overnight. Businesses know the rules are unlikely to change dramatically after every election. For investors, predictability is oxygen. Taxes matter too. Switzerland maintains competitive corporate tax rates, especially at the regional level. This attracted multinational companies, commodity traders, global headquarters, and high-income professionals. Add it together and the pattern becomes clear. Neutrality attracted capital, stability protected it, education amplified it, specialization multiplied it. But there's a tension beneath the success: trust. Switzerland's wealth depends heavily on being trusted: a safe storage unit, a precision manufacturer, a financial intermediary. That position works best in a world that values stability and cross-border capital flows. What happens if the world fragments? What happens if financial transparency rules tighten further? Or if global tax coordination reduces the advantages of small financial hubs? Or if geopolitical tensions force neutrality into uncomfortable gray zones? Even today, Switzerland must balance pressure from larger powers. The European Union is its largest trading partner, yet Switzerland is not an EU member. It negotiates carefully, preserving independence while maintaining access. That balancing act is delicate. And then there's cost. Switzerland is expensive. High wages mean high prices. Housing is costly. Living standards are high, but so is the price of maintaining them. The system works because productivity stays ahead of expenses. If that ever shifts, the margin narrows quickly. So was it luck? Partly. Geography gave Switzerland mountains that were hard to invade. History placed it at a crossroads of European trade routes, but luck without strategy fades. Switzerland turned constraints into structure. No natural resources meant no dependency on commodities. No naval conflicts meant no colonial overreach. Instead of digging wealth out of the ground, Switzerland built it in laboratories, workshops, and financial institutions. Instead of conquering territory, it built credibility. And credibility compounds. When investors believe your currency will hold value, they store more in it. When businesses believe your laws are stable, they invest long-term. When skilled workers believe their expertise is rewarded, they innovate. Over decades, that cycle reinforces itself. Switzerland stands as proof that natural resources are not destiny. Oil can make a country rich quickly, but institutions, education, and trust can make it rich for generations. Still, the model depends on something fragile: confidence. If confidence in neutrality weakens, the advantage erodes. If confidence in financial integrity cracks, capital leaves. If confidence in productivity slips, costs overwhelm output. The real question is not how Switzerland became rich. The real question is whether a country built on stability can remain untouched in a world that is increasingly unstable. And if the global system shifts again, will Switzerland adapt like it has before, or will its greatest strength become its greatest vulnerability? If you found this analysis valuable, please like and share this video. It helps the channel grow and allows us to keep breaking down how money, power, and global systems really work.